Obama, who is Wall Street's favorite on the Democratic side?
Let's turn that to our Bulls and Bears panel, and we also welcome back Nicole Ridgway of smartmoney.com. All right, Obama's side here. Who likes him?
I think there's a lot of bankers that like them, but more money is definitely going towards Hillary as far as Wall Street's concerned.
Peter, Obama's people did the best they could to try to encourage investors and even foreigners that, in fact, his rhetoric on the campaign trail is very different from his what will be a pro-business stance if he becomes president.
Yeah, I don't
is Wall Street buying?
I don't think there's that much difference between the two of them, but I do know that Hillary has a history of supporting the carried interest, and there's a lot of interest in preserving that. Well, you know, some of the real big guys in the hedge fund industry and private equity, you know, they earn their income through a carried interest in their partnerships, which gives them capital gains treatment on what would normally be ordinary income if everybody else earned it.
Yeah, they pay 15% as opposed to 38%.
And no FICA, which is huge. And I know that Hillary has supported that. I don't really know where Barack stands on it. He's probably not in favor of it. So.
Tobin Smith, a lot of the guys over at Goldman Sachs seem to be pouring money into Hillary's campaign and not Obama's. Why do you think that is?
Well, you know, to Peter's point, the carried interest is a big deal to very specific parts of Wall Street. But, you know, frankly, what they're trying to do is get as much money in her pocket as possible so that if she became president or Obama became president, they've got a calling card. You know, I've been in Washington, I think, about 15 years now. The one thing I know is you got to follow the money trail. He who gave the most money to the winning candidate gains access. And access is going to be key if there's a new regime. That's why they give them the money. They're not giving them money, you know, to look good or to follow their philosophical desires. Trust me, it's all about access.
And Gary B., isn't that the point that everybody is hedging their bets right now? They're giving money to Republicans, to Hillary, to Obama. You can't really find who Wall Street is in favor of, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's the old, you know, keep your friends close, your enemies closer. In this case, boy, I don't, you know, you say who does Wall Street want? It's a kind of a toss-up between Lenin and Stalin and then these two. I'll tell you what, you know, Barack Obama, he is absolutely no friend of business. I mean, I have not seen a big government, federal government, forget it. He don't even like state and local governments. He likes a federal government for just about everything. And, you know, whether it's, you know, the living wage, whether it's mandatory health care, no matter the size of the business, boy, he'd really put a crimp in things. I think the advantage Hillary has is she's probably been around just a little bit longer, as probably a little bit more savvy politician, and after all that has realized, you know, you got to really kind of walk the line on some of these issues.
Pat Dorsey, you know, it's a funny line what Gary B. Smith says. You know, I don't know the difference between these two, a communist, socialist, but John Mack of Morgan Stanley doesn't seem to feel that way about Hillary Clinton, nor does Chaim Saban, the CEO of Saban Capital Group. I mean, there's some big money names like Stephen Ratner supporting her. On the Obama side, fewer, though, and, okay, some big Hollywood people like David Geffen, Jeffrey Katzenberg, but a couple CEOs in there, too, supporting these people.
Yeah, I mean, I think the single biggest difference between the two is simply track record. She has one, he doesn't. So with her, you know, you can go to that track record and say, you know, it really hasn't been radically anti-business. And you can say, okay, I can have some confidence that would carry through to the presidency. With him, it's much more of an unknown. And I think that's probably why you're seeing a bit less Wall Street interest coming in there, because he's more of a wild card. Maybe that rhetoric gets translated into policy. Maybe he moderates. You don't know. Whereas her, you have a voting track record you can look at.
Well, Peter, if things are going to get as bad as you say they are, and you say we're only in the first inning of a long 9-inning game in terms of things going south, the next president is going to have to do, or is going to feel compelled to do quite a bit. So we really should focus on these promises made on the campaign trail, because things might get bad enough so that radical changes are put into play.
I mean, one of the best things about politicians is they rarely keep their promises, and the promises normally do more harm than good. But, you know, Hillary is still a New York senator. And even if she loses, you know, the people in New York still deal with her. And I think that's another reason why she's popular on Wall Street, is because she's already here. And she's already in New York, and people need that access, even if she's not in the White House.
Tobin, last word here?
Well, if things get as bad as what Peter says, the president's job is going to just be turning out the last light. So I'm not, you know, I'm not quite that worried about it. Peter is. What I am worried about is Obama leading a candidate. You know, like remember John Kerry? Oh, I have a plan, and his plan is basically to tax the hell out of people, and that scares me.
All right, last word for Mr. Toby Smith, but he'll get the first word probably next.